just found out that the original draft of Rogue One had an opening crawl, so you know what that means. It's time to decode it on today's Nerdist News. Fans had a field day picking apart all of the references, Easter eggs, and callbacks hidden throughout Rogue One, but for all of the film's devotion to the original trilogy, there was at least one classic element of Star Wars that was pretty obviously missing, which legitimately broke my heart, because I love it. I think it's tradition. But that's maybe for a talks back someday. The opening crawl! Rogue One was the first flick set in that galaxy far, far away to not open with a big block of chunky yellow text floating helplessly in the void of space. Break my heart. But that wasn't always the case. Director Gareth Edwards recently revealed that the original script for Rogue One did in fact include a crawl, and it wasn't until a mere 6 months ago that the higher-ups at Disney told him to take it out. Maybe because making an opening crawl for a movie with a plot that was already covered in another opening crawl seemed redundant. Who knows? Anyway, this has naturally left all of us opening crawl enthusiasts scratching our heads, wondering what could have been. We may never know the complete answer since, as we all know, unused drafts of any Disney screenplays are shredded into confetti for the Main Street Electrical Parade, one of my favorites. But with a little detective work, we here at Nerdist have created what we're absolutely sure is a nearly precise replica of the original Rogue One opening crawl. So let's take a quick look. Starting off, we know that a lot of Cassian's backstory was added later in the reshoots. Apparently, Disney wanted to flesh out the team's characters a little bit more and make them more fun, and apparently the best way to do this was a scene in which Cassian shoots a dude in the back. So, you know, there had to be some mention of that in the crawl. Same goes for a lot of adult Jyn's early scenes. In the original cut, we jumped directly from her as a kid to her getting interrogated by the Rebel Alliance, so there had to be some crawl that covered stuff like her exciting prison break. And what about Darth Vader's spooky castle? It only showed up on screen for a few minutes, but Edwards and his crew put a whole lot of thought into the story behind it. In an interview on StarWars.com, Rogue One production designer Doug Chiang explained that Vader specifically had the castle built on Mustafar, the site of his epic loss to Obi-Wan, so that he could meditate and heal himself. It was also built to resemble a giant tuning fork to suggest that it was literally tuning into the dark side of the Force. And that sounds like some solid crawl fodder to me. Also really weird. And hey, can anyone tell me whatever became of C2B5? You know, C2B5, the Imperial droid with a cool black paint job that fans had dubbed the evil R2-D2. He shows up a bunch in the Rogue One toy line, but you can barely see him in the final film. The only logical conclusion is that he was the star of the opening crawl. And speaking of forgotten Star Wars stars, let's not forget that this is the movie that bridges the events of the prequels to the events of the OG trilogy. So what is going on with our favorite prequel characters? How is business at Dexter Jettster's Diner? Is Sebulba still king of the pod racing ring? Has Boss Nass finally retired after years of faithful public service to the Gungans? If all of that wasn't covered in the opening crawl, it would be literally insane. With all of those pieces of the puzzle now in place, I think we can safely say that the original Rogue One opening crawl looked a little something like this. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it is a time of great galactic turmoil. Sebulba and Watto are still deep in debt to the Hutts after their stunning loss at the Bunta Eve Classic. Luckily, Dexter Jettster has offered them an exciting investment opportunity in his new chain of quick-serve Gungan barbecue restaurants. To acquire the needed investment capital, they accept a donation of 1 million Republic credits from the mischievous C2B5. There's just one catch. To get the money, they have to spend one night in Darth Vader's haunted castle. Also, Jyn Erso escaped from a prison or something, and Cassian Andor is one bad dude. Wah! And Star Wars. Boom! Cut to Mads Mikkelsen's moisture farm. Yeah, sounds about right to me. But what do you guys think? What was covered in the Rogue One opening crawl? What do you think the movie felt like before they added the extra setup? How different do you think the original ending was? Would you want to see the original cut, or were you happy with what we got? Let's discuss. For more Star Wars theories, Rogue One updates, and rampant Episode 8 speculation, head on over to Nerdist.com, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Nerdist news. Welcome back, everybody! Big hugs! Aww, it's so cute.